Hello, everyone. Welcome to our kitchen for our, I don't even know what number workshop. We used to count.
You say that every time.
Do it. I
We
do.
don't keep track. We just know it's actually been a year. We started when we published when our book came out, which was last October. Our very first recipes that we did are ready now to taste
Can you
test.
believe that? And so when you're saying a year, meaning we started our Zoom workshops a year ago for our book, the lives we've been doing,
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
all the way back, I don't even know. But yes, this is a super exciting one because it has been a year since we did our very first recipe out of our book. And we get to, it's my favorite thing, we get to taste test. It's taste test time. Is it four different taste tests today, folks? So we're really excited. So just, it's going to be a full workshop today. We're doing a lot of things. Let me kind of take you through the itinerary. Number one, we're going to do the autumn breeze. That's on page 74 of the Art of Extract Making. We're going to be doing cranberry vanilla orange extract, page 112. We're going to be doing change outs on our vanilla bean sweet dream extract that we started in October, just last month. And then we're gonna finish and taste test the winter spice extract that we started a year ago, the mocha vanilla extract that we started same time a year ago, the cinnamon extract that we just started last month, and then the raspberry extract that we started in September.
Yeah.
So holy cow. We got
Let's go.
Let's dive in. So first, just a big welcome to all of our Club Pura members. We're always so glad to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. A welcome to the new people that are here today. A few of you through Eventbrite, and anyone else that's joining us for the first time, new Club Pura members. We've had quite a few subscribe just recently. Welcome. We're so glad to have you with us, and we hope to get to know you quite a bit as we continue this for like all the way into 2026 at the very least. That's how long it's going to take us to get through our book, all the way into 2026. So this is a long journey, and we're so glad to have all of you with us, right?
Yeah.
So shall we dive in?
Yes,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
So let's begin with the autumn breeze extract. It's on page 74 of the Art of Extract Making. We did our best to time all of these, so they're kind of consistent with the season. And this one is like, it's got holiday fall flavors written all over it.
It does. That's why it's called the autumn breeze.
It's hence the name. So let's dive in because this one is so much fun.
Okay, this is really fun because we have a combination of dried fruits from the season, as well, of course, of vanilla beans. And then we add in some of these fall spices in with these different fruits, and it just adds this perfect little extract that you can be using all through the fall and the winter when you're just loving all of those spices and fruits.
Yes, when you think of anything that is a favorite during holiday baking season, from pie crust to pumpkin spice things to your fruit bread, banana breads, things like that. This works.
Oh, it's wonderful in glazes over scones and, just dip cinnamon rolls, just to add a little bit of a different taste to just the plain traditional cinnamon roll. It's delicious.
And not to like go on a huge diversion, but sometimes like where you really taste the extracts come through like the flavor, it's in glazes, it's in frostings, it's in creams, things like that, where the extract taste really shines, and you can be a little bit more liberal in the application of the extracts, right? You can add a little bit more sometimes to get a little more flavor.
And don't forget to add it to your tea too, because this is a wonderful addition to add just a little bit.
A little drop to your hot holiday tea.
Yes.
Right. There we go.
Thing we're going to do here, this is our Ecuadorian beans. This is tahitensis, and it has a nice light fruity undertone with a little bit of like an apricot or maybe even a plum taste to it. And so it's going to go perfect with these spices and these fruits. Again, like we always say, when you're cutting or slicing your vanilla beans, you get to choose. You can tie them in a knot so you can save all that caviar or the seeds inside to use later for recipes. Or you can cut them so you can get, you can cut them so you can get all of those seeds in your extract. So I'm going to tie maybe 3 or 4 of them. So I'll have those for later. And then I'm going to cut the rest just so I can get plenty of seeds in my extract.
Well, and sometimes too, with these multi-ingredient extracts, you fill the container so quickly and you're trying, the goal at the end is going to be to have everything be submerged. And when you're packing everything in, and we'll do this when we get to the orange cranberry one as well. But when you're packing them in, sometimes like cutting the beans is just a must, just to be able to squeeze them all down there so they all fit.
Yes, and it's just once you get all these ingredients in there, you know, it gets a little bit more difficult. So it is easier to cut most of them just so everything can be submerged.
Yep. And we're using our French square, the 16-ounce bottle.
16 ounce, yeah.
And we like these for the big open neck.
And they fit nicely into my cupboards. They're not too big, and so they don't take up too much space, which when you have a ton of extracts, that gets to be an issue.
Oh my heavens. And there are a great many of you that know exactly what we're talking about.
I've seen the pictures.
We've seen the pictures, and just when we think we had a lot, like someone posted a picture last week and there were hundreds in the one picture.
Yeah.
And we've probably got, I don't know.
Yeah,
we have hundreds.
Yeah.
So I know.
It's nice to know we're not alone.
We're not alone. We're in good company.
Okay, so our next ingredient is just ginger. Now, this adds kind of like that fresh, wow. I mean, without the ginger, it's just not the same. So don't leave this out. It adds just that fresh, tart ginger flavor. It's about 1 inch long. In the recipe, it says 1 small ginger root. So it's about 1 inch.
So
it smells so wonderful.
Just as you're cutting it open, I know. And so one of the principles that we talk about in our book, and really what we're trying to do with extract making, is to give you a starting point to sort of find your way to the extracts that you like. We hope no two extracts are ever exactly the same. And so if you happen to be someone that loves the taste of ginger, you can use a little more. If you don't love the taste of ginger, you can go a little light. If you think the ginger's coming through too strong early on, you can remove the ginger and the other ingredients will take over. If you want more ginger after you've started, you can add more into it. That's the joy of extract making, right? Like you can tweak and adjust and kind of zero in on the flavor that you like the best and find it with all the ingredients that we're using. So when we say small or medium or large, that's part of the reason is that we're talking about personal preference and what you want to do with ginger or with the other ingredients, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're giving you kind of a starting point that we found recipes that are tried and true. And then we hope that you take those recipes and then make them your own.
Yeah.
So after the ginger, we are going to do whole nutmeg, and it says half a whole nutmeg. You know, once I crush this, it might be a little bit difficult to get exactly half. Extracting is not an exact science. We're not baking cakes here. These are extracts. So if you get a little more nutmeg or a little less, you're going to be just fine. You know, it's not going to matter. So I've got kind of half right there. So I'm just gonna, that was easy.
That was so easy.
Woo!
That was like easier than the hammer. Like usually it's the hammer under the dishcloth, but that with the mortar and pestle, that was very nice.
If you have a mortar and pestle, you can do that, or you can just use like a meat tenderizer in your dish towel, or I've used a spoon rest before and I couldn't find the rest because my kids like to they used to love to play with that meat tenderizer and I could never find it.
We could never find it. So we made them break it with their teeth. You lose mom's tools. We got to break the nutmeg. You kids got to figure it out. I'm teasing. We did not do that. They lost their teeth other ways. Anyway.
Okay. So, we've got the nutmeg. The next thing we're adding is our dried fruits. So I've got, we're going to start with the apples. This comes differently. If you have your own dehydrator, then you can do it however you want to do it. I have a friend with a dehydrator, so sometimes I use hers. I used to have one, I don't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to the store and I buy them, sometimes I find them in rings like this. And sometimes I find them in wedges with the skin and sometimes without. All of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
But for this recipe, this is about the size of one slice. So I'm going to put 4 of these in. And, you know, every piece is a little bit different. So I kind of just guide it, you know, if I kind of get close to that. See if I can find another one. It's kind of close to that. And then one more. And I can cut them. See, this one actually does have the skin on. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Which we don't want to use. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Go, gotcha. I thought you were calling it out for the other reason.
And then that. So, I mean, really, it's not a ton of fruit that we're putting in here, just a little bit. And I'm going to cut it into just smaller pieces, only because I want it to just fit really nicely in there. And
so we like dehydrated because one, it's capturing the fruit in there. Two, it's removed the majority of the moisture. When you think of like dehydrated versus freeze-dried stuff, it's a lot like a grade A and a grade B bean. You know, the drier you get is kind of like freeze-dried, whereas the dehydrated, it's still a little bit more pliable, but the moisture content is still really, really, really low, which means when we're using dried fruits, we can still use regular spirits. We don't have to get into the world of like high proof rums or Everclear or anything like that. We're using ingredients that allow for a broad range of spirits, right?
yes, we're using a 40% Bacardi Gold rum in this recipe, which is really, really easy to find. Most spirits start around 40%. And so if there is just a little bit of moisture in this, you've got a little bit extra room that you'll be just fine. And, you know, the versatility of being able to choose many different spirits goes up when you have the dried fruit.
Absolutely. So we like dried fruit for that reason, but we're going to talk about fresh fruit here in a minute as well. And for those of you that have been on all of these journeys with us, we've done several fresh fruits, and we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yep.
Time for oranges.
Moving on to the oranges. This also says 4 sliced oranges. So I'm just, again, a normal kind, it's not a big orange, it's just a medium orange. And I'm going to pick about 4 of these. If one is a little bit smaller, I'll go and maybe put 2 or 1.5 in there.
LaDawn uses the dehydrator setting on her air fryer. LaDawn, that's really interesting. It's funny, LaDawn, I read that and I thought you said you use the dehydrator that is sitting on your air fryer. And I thought that could be a little dangerous. The dehydrator setting on your air fryer. That's a really good idea.
Is kind of a cool thing because, you know, freeze-dried can be expensive. And if you do have access to a dehydrator, it gives you that opportunity to take advantage of all that fresh fruit that's in season and affordable. And you can use it.
You can use it.
Yeah.
And then the other nice thing about dehydrated is it doesn't absorb the spirits as much as freeze-dried does. And so typically you find that with freeze-dried, you're topping off your extracts a lot more frequently than you are with just dehydrated. But sometimes those flavors can come out. There's really pros and cons to each, and topping off's not a bad thing. It's just another step that you have to be cognizant of as you're using it.
Well, and oftentimes the dehydrated fruits, it pulls out, it's a little stronger sometimes.
Absolutely.
So it's nice. Again, we're teaching you just concepts here.
There's pros and cons to every single one of them.
Yep.
By the way, this jar, like almost,
it's gorgeous.
You could almost put all these ingredients in there and give it as a Christmas gift with a little like thing of alcohol type to it and let people like make this extract on their own with the instructions, just as like a holiday gift idea. Because people are always like, it's not gonna be ready for a year and I can't give it away. Well,
it's gorgeous.
You can do this
with a cute little tag. Can you imagine a cute little Bacardi rum bottle that's attached to here, and you've got the tag and it tells them what to do. Really just, it's gorgeous.
Yes.
It is really.
There's so many ways to use gifting and extract making, and this is one of them when you have all these dried ingredients and they look just amazing.
And you don't have to wait the whole year to have it ready for them. Then you're going to find another friend in extracting because you're going to start them on this journey.
Yes,
for
sure.
So it's kind of fun to give them something that they can actually do themselves too.
Yep. And you can just grab the recipe out of the book and you can make like a little card of it if you want. So it's all the instructions so they know exactly what to do. And it's all there. Like, how fun is that?
Yeah.
Sorry, tangent.
Okay. No, that's okay.
That's what I do. I'm a tangent guy.
Cup of cranberries. Oh gosh, this is only getting more colorful. Beautiful. I mean, check that out. How pretty is that?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, and now we have the spices. We have 2 teaspoons of allspice berries and 1 teaspoon of whole cloves. So we're just going to top that off over the top.
There it is.
I like to kind of jiggle it a little bit so they can kind of go down in between all the ingredients. There we go.
There we go.
So pretty. Look at that. It is, I think that would be so fun to give it like that.
I know. You see, every now and then I have a good idea.
No.
Once in a while,
You do a lot.
I have a good idea. It's like, hey, that would be fun. That was unrehearsed, by the way. That was total improv. I thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, so
What do we got now?
Bacardi rum.
Oh, is it time for me to geek out about alcohol?
It is.
Can I? May I?
Yes. So we have decided to go with the Bacardi Gold because it's a little bit different than white rum. Ta-da! Take it up.
So no.
Part. You know he does.
No. Well, it's like the second. So obviously the first thing that's going to dictate the taste of your extracts is the ingredients. The second thing that's going to dictate the taste is the spirit that you choose.
Yes.
And there's a trillion different spirits. And so there's so many different options and it'll have a huge impact on what your final extract is going to taste like. So in this particular case, we chose the Bacardi Gold, right? We call that out in the book. You can kind of say that this is a dark rum. This one has been aged lightly. So the darkness in the alcohol comes from the cask that it's stored in. So the longer that they're aged, the darker they get because they're taking on a lot of the characteristics of the wooden cask that they're in. Casks are charred before they go inside. So when spirits are really smoky, it's because they sat in the smoked cask for longer periods of time. Also, over time, alcohol evaporates. They call it the angel's portion. So if you fill a cask full, after 1 year, X amount is going to evaporate. And after more and more and more years, you get more evaporation, which means what's left over is really, really concentrated. And the longer it sits, the more impact the cask is going to have on the flavor. And a smoky cask is going to add smokiness to the alcohol. So before we get there.
Oh, sorry.
So this one has been, it doesn't say exactly how long, but you can tell just by looking at it. It's only been stored in a cask for a short period of time. That means it's a rum. It's sugar-based. The sugar and the sweetness is going to be the predominant flavor, and the smokiness is going to be kind of put at bay because it's a lighter rum. So, go ahead.
Well, and the smokiness isn't going to overtake this recipe. It's going to be something that's just there, and it's and so in a year, it's going to be delicious. Now, I know a lot of people say if you go dark rums, you're going to have to wait at least 18 months to 2 years. That's why we taste test at the year mark or even at 6 months. So you can decide what it is that you like. But this gold rum is a little bit lighter on that smoky flavor side.
Yeah, it just hasn't been aged as long as others have. And so what you get out of this is a lot of sweetness, a little bit of smokiness, but the two together are wonderful. And for all the ingredients that we're putting in here with the cranberries and the apples and the oranges and vanilla and the allspice, this one has been our favorite. Brandies would certainly be good with this, especially like an apple brandy to use with the apples that are inside. They would be very complementary. So there's a lot of ways that you can go that'll have a different impact on the final. Here's another rum, just so you can see the difference. This one has been aged longer. This is the Kirk and Sweeney. And so when you hold them up behind the setting 4:30 sun, which we're so sad that it gets so dark so early, but you can kind of see it in the background. A darker rum, it's going to be a little smokier. It's going to have more of the taste of the casks versus a lighter rum that, in our experience, extracts just as quickly as a vodka.
Yes. And so if you're going to go with a really dark rum, it may very well take 18 months to possibly 2 years, depending on your preference. But we found that Bacardi Gold is kind of a nice in-between spot of just plain white rum and then the dark.
We love it. So go deep on spirits. Go spend as much time researching spirits. We have a ton of information about spirits in our book for this reason, because there's just so much flavor that you can add when you select your spirit. There's a really important comment here, though, that I think we need to share with the whole group that I think is maybe one of the most important comments that has ever been raised in all of the workshops that we have ever done.
Wow.
And it comes to us by Debbie Bennett, who says, "Paul, you're so funny."
Oh, God.
Thank you, Debbie. Debbie's my favorite.
Wow, you are sweet.
Okay, back to the important stuff. All right, here we go. What do we got? We got So
8
you
ounces.
poured 8 ounces.
Yep, we've got 1 ounce of beans to 8 ounces of alcohol. Then we have all those ingredients in the middle, which are going to create the most unique, flavorful autumn
And there it is.
extract.
And look at that. It covers it perfectly. Oh my heavens.
Now it's going to float a little bit at the beginning until the fruit gets absorbed, and then it will go down. Sometimes when you check on it, you'll notice it's coming up. Just go in and push it down and check on it ever so often. But I mean, for the most part, it's going to be great.
Now hold that up sideways. Let's get it on the extract cam here, just so you can show it. When you're tilting it, all the stuff kind of comes out. But when the
Yeah.
jar sits upright,
When I tilt it, you can see
but
all.
everything's fully submerged
Yeah,
when the jar
everything
sits
is.
upright.
Yeah.
And so, and it might absorb it just a little bit. And if we need to top it off, we can. Remember, we're using lots of ingredients here, not just the vanilla beans. I mean, we've got enough for, is this single fold extract, just vanilla. So there's enough vanilla in there just for a single fold extract. But then you're adding all of those other fruits as well. So my point is, if you need to top it off, everybody's always worried, well, if I top it off, am I diluting it? No, you're not in this case. It's okay to top it off a little bit. This is one of the reasons you want to find a jar that fits like snug, just to make sure everything can get pushed down. And the least amount of alcohol is used in the extraction. The least amount of alcohol that you use, the more concentration you're going to get. But it doesn't mean that you can't top off and still get the taste that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, topping off doesn't mean you're adding, 3-4 ounces. It's just a little bit.
Moon Babe, the aroma has to be incredible.
It is.
And it's so interesting, the chemistry, because as soon as you poured the alcohol in it, it was like this poof of flavor and aroma that comes out.
Together, didn't it?
Yeah, because you can smell it all through the kitchen now. Now you couldn't when it was all dry, but as soon as we added the rum in there, it was like the aroma that came out was like instantaneous.
Yes.
Because the whole kitchen smells now.
The whole kitchen, you can smell the vanilla, of
Yeah.
course.
How fun is this extract, by the way? Is this like one of the most fun extracts?
It's so fun. I'm gonna add my labeling onto the jar so I know what it is. When I started it, I like to put the page number of the book because then I don't have to go searching it. It's just faster for me. And then on the bottom, I put the date that I started it. So since I have so many different extracts, I have to have some way of organizing everything. And this is just something that I like to do. I also have a spreadsheet that I keep track of things as well in one big place. But when I'm just kind of going through my cupboards, I'll go through and say, oh, this one, and then I pull the ones that need attention to the front and the other ones to the back. So it's really nice to have notes on the jar just for that quick reference.
Yeah, if you have to pull up the spreadsheet every time, it's tricky.
Yeah.
And then the masking tape comes off, it doesn't leave any residue. So it's easy to change it out over and over again, right?
Tape. Now, if I'm gonna gift it, I'll take that off and put a cute label on it. But if it's just for me, I abhor stickers. So this masking tape is like my best friend.
I just want to smell this one more time. I'm telling you, the brandy would be, I think, good with this one.
The pear brandy
The
would
pear
be
brandy would be
lovely,
good,
yeah.
but the Bacardi Gold for this one still is still holding up. And the reason I say that is, when we wrote the book, it's been 2 years now, I think, since we submitted the.
Yes, so we submitted it, not wrote it.
Yeah, well, we wrote it before that, but
Yeah.
since we submitted the draft and we kind of had to stop adding or editing, and we've learned so much even since then. And there are some things where we're like, boy, a brandy here has been really good. Or we've discovered new spirits and new applications as we've gone through all of this. That's the hardest part about a book, is you just have to stop. And you learn new things, and you're like, hey, and you're calling the publisher, can I add this one? And then, no, we're done. Okay, we'll wait. But anyway, the Bacardi Gold,
it's lovely,
still holds up. It's lovely, like right out of the chute. Like, this is such a fun extract. We hope a lot of you are making this one and enjoying it as much as we are, because this one's great. Well done, Jill. How about that? Give Jill a hand. Can't do that through here, but they're all doing it, I bet. Okay, so we're going to come back and check up on that one in a month, and then it goes for a full 12 months. So that's one we're going to be taste testing in a year.
Yes, in 1 month, we're going to change out all that fruit, and we're going to add some more fruit just to give it a little bit more of that fruity aspect of the extract. And then after another month, we'll pull out that fruit, and then we're gonna let it go for that full 12 months so you can get the full vanilla flavor. Now, if you think it's wonderful and you want to try it before then, it will be, but it will only get better and more vanilla flavor will come out the longer you wait.
We think it's worth waiting on this one to bring that vanilla forward. It just kind of binds everything together in a beautiful, like smooth extract that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this, I think, earlier, but just one more time. So on this one that we just made, we're going to come back, we're going to record another clip in like a month. No, we do a 1 month, then a 2 month. Then it goes on the shelf for 10 months, and then we're going to come back in a year. So it makes it really hard to find all the clips. So if on vanillapure.com, we've got a new section, it's the video tutorials for our book. There's an index there. So if you click on it, you go to that index. We've got 27 of our 40 recipes that we have started. We're going to get all 40 of them. And we go through and we get all the clips from each segment of our lives, and we put them all on the same page so you don't have to go digging for all of them. If you want to know how to make this extract in a year, you'll be able to see what we just did here. You'll see our change out in a month. You'll see our change out a month after that. And then you'll see our final taste test 10 months later. So it'll all be in the same place. So for all of you new people that are joining us for the first time tonight, that's why we're doing these every month. And that's why we're not going to be done. The last taste test is like 2026. So we got a long way to go. But that's the reason that we're doing it. We're trying to create a helpful tool for all of you that would like to have guidance as you're making extracts in your kitchen.
It's our book in action.
Our book in action.
Yeah.
That was such a more concise way to say. See, always use what's the saying? I can't think of it. It's a saying about not using a lot of words. I don't want to think of it.
That's true.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yes, please, she says.
Hi
Oh,
guys.
Oh,
Just
Did
before
has a
we
comment.
move on,
Yes.
yeah, Stacey said she actually made this extract today and she used the oven to dehydrate her oranges and apples. But
Wonderful.
she cut them thin with a mandolin, so she's wondering if she should add more fruit. But yeah, maybe
Well,
not.
here's what I would recommend. One, if you feel like you've added enough and you had the slices and they were great, it's all about personal preference. Taste test, you can do a taste test in a month. And if you like the apple that's coming through, you're great. If you would like it to be more apple forward, you can certainly add more. We used fatter slices here. And so if you want to be more on par with what we used, go ahead.
It actually depends on what you set your mandolin on, because there's the different settings. If can you come up close to the camera here, and I'll just show you how thick these are.
Well, she was talking about apples. These are the oranges.
These are the oranges, and I'll show you the apples too, so you can kind of get a perspective of what you cut on your mandolin and how thick these are. I have used the mandolin before, but it was harder on the oranges. It didn't work as well for me, but you can see that's, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah. So it's 100% up to you. If you want more apple flavor, add more. If you felt like your slices were a little less than that, we like this. This is what we've done in the past. We're doing it the same way we did previously, and the apple comes through beautifully. So we certainly like it, but it can go either way. Go ahead.
Yes. You can't go wrong by adding a little bit more. It'll just have more of a fruity flavor. We're not adding a ton of water here like we would with fresh fruit. You're not going to ruin your extract. It'll just be a little bit more on that fruity flavor. So you decide here what you want to do. And then through the taste testing process, you can kind of make some adjustments depending on your own preference.
Yep. But you can always add a little more if you want to add a little more. You're not going to ruin your extract by having too many.
Mm-hmm.
So great question. Was there any other question, or was that it?
Thank you, guys. Sounds good. No more questions, just a couple of comments. Seems to be a lot of support for a book number 2 with extracts and their uses.
Yes, we know. We have many notes of things that we're thinking of for book number 2, and we'll keep you posted.
Exciting. And yet, last thing, Stacey said she found some labels on Amazon that disintegrate in soapy water, which sound perfect. So you don't get that sticky residue.
Perfect.
Yeah, we have found hot water with labels on bottles is like the best little hack in the world when you're trying to get labels off.
works with some labels.
with the paper.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is one of those things that drive me crazy. I'll even show it to you right here.
There we go. We're going off camera. Oh, this is the E&J.
Yes, I absolutely love this bottle. I think it's beautiful. I could repurpose it for so many things, but I have been soaking this for hours and hours and hours and hours, and I'm still got all this
Put it under the
stuff on
extract
here.
cam just so they can see the close up.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I tell you, it's a beautiful bottle, but I have spent so much time getting to this point that it's not crazy. And
Right.
that's why I don't use stickers on my extracts.
Yes, that's the E&J brandy. It's been a tough one. The labels that we use, for those of you that have gotten your bottles from us, we use a label that if you soak it in water, it comes off really, really nicely because we have to have barcodes on it to be able to ship and all that kind of stuff. But all you got to do is soak it in water for a little while, and those labels just kind of slide right off. So
And we did that on purpose.
yes, we did. We did. So hopefully they're not too big of a headache.
That person to send you stickers that make you crazy.
Yep. So people are recommending WD-40, Goo Gone, which we've tried that before, right? I've had to use Goo Gone for these E&J bottles, says Connie. Hi, Connie. Connie's here. I didn't see you there. That's great. The Goo Gone. So everyone's saying Goo Gone. Yep. Rubbing alcohol. But boy, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, you know.
Ugh.
Yep. So
Yes.
anyway, good stuff. That was a good diversion. Hopefully we said some things that were helpful to the person with the apples and also talking about bottles. Should we move on? Let's move on. Okay, our next brand new extract that we get to get started on is our Cranberry Vanilla Orange Extract. It's on page 112 of The Art of Extract Making. And this one is going to incorporate fresh fruit, but there's a twist in this one. It's fresh fruit, but it's a little different than the fresh fruit ones that we've done in the past. And we'll talk about why in a moment.
Okay.
How's that?
Sure.
Okay. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, this orange cranberry vanilla extract is so fun and unique, and it is also delicious in some of the similar recipes that that Autumn Breeze is. Again, in your tea, with just a little bit of a splash, it's just a treat. So don't forget your teas. I know it's cold. I'm starting to drink more tea right now. And so I've got this basket here. Those are all my finished extracts, and I've got them in little bottles, so they're easy to get to. My favorites are on top of my little espresso machine, so I can just not have to think about it in the morning and just put a little bit in there. Or with tea, the same thing. I just put it right next to my kettle. So yeah, you can use extracts.
And that's what's so fun. It's like you have a flavor artillery, right? And they're in all the different cabinets, so you're not limited to just vanilla.
No, I've got them next to the stove. I've got them
There's
next to the
so many
coffee.
things, and you can grab them, you can improvise on recipes. So much
Yeah.
fun. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm gonna put the
so
lid on
let's get
this.
going on this. Our first ingredient, of course, is the vanilla. These are our Cook Island vanilla beans, and these are nice, fruity. As it's fruity like the Ecuadorian, but a little bit more, don't you think, cherry?
Yeah, I'm gonna geek out. Can I geek out?
Sure.
Do I have your permission to geek out for a minute?
Oh, for 26 years.
Okay. So the Cook Island beans are fun, one, because it's a V planifolia. And most of the time when you're getting down into the South Pacific and those regions, everybody's growing the tahitensis. And so it's harder to find V planifolia beans coming out of like the South Pacific. Tonga has them, but it's rare. Cook Island's one of those. So one, you get like the traditional creaminess of like planifolia that you would think of from like Mexico or Madagascar. But because it's grown in the islands and the soils there, you get like a tropical fruit, like fruitiness. And also on these, it's like an anise. There's like the soft hint of like anise.
Yeah,
and
a
I
little
hate,
bit of a licorice.
yes,
Yeah.
a kind of a licorice anise undertone, a little bit of cherry. So there's some fruit, and it blends really well with what we're going to be doing here with the oranges. We actually are, they're not available right now. I feel horrible even saying it, right? Because they're stocked out. But we're always working with our suppliers to get more. It's a small little farm that we source these things from. So we'll get them again and we'll let you know. But right now they're stocked out. but they are a beautiful, fun vanilla bean from the South Pacific that is just one that you've got to try. And it marries well with the ingredients of this extract.
You can see the shine from the oil in here. They're nice and thick. You cut into these and there's so many seeds in here. They're really pliable. So if you want to save this really big one and all that caviar in there, you can just tie that guy up. I'm going to do a couple of them just so I can save that caviar for later. And then the rest of them I'm going to cut so I can get all those seeds.
So it's just 6 beans that make up this ounce.
Yes.
They're a little shorter, but they're really plump.
7 actually.
Is it the 7?
Yeah.
I missed one there. Yeah.
Now you can slice them down the middle. Sometimes I do it, and sometimes I just cut them because you can get the caviar in your extract by just cutting them as well. Yeah. It's a personal preference.
There you go.
Okay, so the vanilla beans always go on the bottom because I want to make sure that those are submerged and they're not floating at the top. And so it just makes it easier for me to make sure that they are always submerged. So they go on the bottom. The next ingredient is our oranges. Now I cut these very thin just to fit into my jar. There's 3 medium oranges and they fit about in my hand. Not large, not small, just kind of in the middle. And it fills this jar. This is a quart jar and I'm going to have to push some things down here. I could probably use a bigger jar, and you're welcome to, but I have about a bajillion of these. So, I find a way to use what I have.
Yeah. And so while she's doing that, let's talk just a little bit about fresh fruits. We've talked about this in the other. When you're adding fresh fruits, you can Google online, what the moisture content is of any kind of fresh fruit. So in the case of an orange, it's almost 90% moisture. So what that means is that 90% moisture is water. And so we're adding water to our extract in an effort to use the water to dilute a higher proof alcohol. So the sweet spot for extract making, when you're talking about alcohol content, the sweet spot is always between 35% and 50% alcohol, which is 70 to 100 proof. So our target is to always make sure that whatever alcohol content we had at the beginning, after we add our ingredients, if they're fresh, we want the alcohol content to end to be at somewhere between 35 and 50%. That's the sweet spot. Anything above 50%, we've experienced that we damage the beans. They don't extract at the same rate, and you can have problems. And so in anything below 35%, they don't extract. You've got to be a minimum of 35%. And so our whole goal here is to get the moisture out of the fruit, and then we're going to use a higher proof spirit to then dilute it to get it down to that window of 35 to 50%. Historically, when we've done fresh fruit, we always start with a 195 proof Everclear. This time we're doing it different. We'll tell you why. I'm going to leave it right there and then we'll come back to it. Go ahead. You were going to start muddling with your muddle.
Oh, I was just going to show. A lot of people are like, how do you get that to fit in the jar? I am going to squeeze some of this down. It's just going to squeeze some of that juice out. And like Paul was saying, the juice is going to dilute that high alcohol, that Everclear. And so oftentimes when people extract with overproof alcohol, they'll dilute it with water. Well, the great thing when you use the fresh fruit is you're diluting it with orange juice, which just adds a little bit of sugar, a little bit of that wonderful orange flavor. And so it's just a unique way to, dilute the alcohol in these extracts and then add a unique flavor.
That's exactly it. So by muddling there, she's pushed all of the orange juice essentially to the bottom. So when we put the spirit in, it will immediately dilute it and we'll get our alcohol content down. And when we get to the Everclear, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and I'm not done. I've got 2 ounces of cranberries that need to go in here. This smells so Christmassy, you guys.
Now, by the way,
I can smell these cloves with the cranberry and the orange, and oh my gosh, it's like Christmas morning in here.
Okay, can I get geeky again?
You're welcome.
Do I have your permission to get geeky? One of the things that I've seen online from our super creative group members in our Facebook group, someone posted a while ago, and she did the oranges and then the cranberries, then the oranges and then the cranberry. So she layered it all the way through. So it was like orange, cranberry, orange, cranberry.
Like trifle.
Yes. And then gave it again as a gift.
Beautiful.
And it looked absolutely beautiful. And so again, other gift ideas that you can do. Everyone, you don't have to have a finished extract to give it out. You can give a newly made extract. You can give all the ingredients plus the alcohol, like we talked about previously, and then just some instructions. And it's kind of a thing that they can create over the year and then use it, a year from now. And then you tell everyone when they do use it a year from now, they have to invite you back to taste test whatever it is that they made with it, right?
Or they have to bring you a treat.
Or they have to bring you a treat. Exactly. Anyway, sorry, little
No,
diversion
you're
there.
good. You're good.
Fun thing from the group.
See that in our book. A lot of the images are of the ingredients before the alcohol is added, because once you add that, it all gets muddled together and you can't see each layer of ingredient and how beautiful and the colors and so it is kind of a fun little gift to do it before.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just 1 teaspoon of cloves, and I'm telling you, it smells like Christmas in here.
Christmas in a bottle.
We have a fruit salad that we like to eat every Christmas in the morning with cinnamon rolls, and this smells just like it.
Smells just like it. Do we get to geek out about Everclear now?
Yes.
May I speak about Everclear?
You may.
Okay, so we've made, now I think the recipe here, correct me if I'm wrong, this called for the high proof rum. We talked about this last time. We went and looked again. In fact, the laws have changed now in Utah. Again, they're not selling high proof stuff anymore.
No.
Not even Everclear.
Yes, I went down to the liquor store today. I knew that they didn't have the rum, but I was going to get some more Everclear. And here in Utah, the highest they're going to go, they changed the law, is 151.
Yeah.
And so we're headed down to southern Utah in a little bit. We're going to cross the border into Nevada and stock up.
Seriously, like a smuggler sometimes.
Yeah, my sister comes to visit and she'll bring stuff.
Yes.
She's my bootlegger.
Yes. So, so that's one of the challenges that we have now. Fortunately, with this extract, it works. So historically, when we've done fresh fruit extract, we start with like a 190 proof or a 195 proof, right? Which is like 98% alcohol. We add the 1-to-1. We add like 4 ounces of fresh fruit to the 8 ounces or 8 ounces of fresh fruit to 8 ounces of spirit. And what that effectively does is it cuts the alcohol content in half. So you go from, at 98% to 44, roughly 44%.
Which is in that sweet spot.
Which is in the sweet spot.
35 to 50%.
Then the next time we do a change out, we use half the amount of fresh fruit is what we've done in the past. And so then that takes us down to like 37% and we're right in the window and we're good. Now, in the case of this one, so say you're like us and you're in a state where you can only get like 151. We recommend this in the book, and then just by coincidence, the laws have changed here. And so it proved really helpful today. Our recommendation when we do the change out of the oranges in the book on this one is not to add fresh oranges the second time. So in a month, when we come and we remove the fresh oranges, the next time we're just going to add orange peels. So we're not going to add fresh fruit and moisture from fresh fruit. So what that means is we'll start with a 151 Everclear, or if you had like a 160 high proof rum, like what the book calls for that we used to be able to get and we can't get now, you're effectively cutting that in half, which is still okay. You're right in the window of where you want to be, but you can't do another round of fresh fruit if you're starting with a 151. You have to only use dry ingredients, which is exactly what we call for in the book, specifically for this reason. We just wanted to teach that lesson. And again, our whole goal is to just teach you the concept so you guys can go out and make hundreds of successful different extracts. Using dry fruit, you don't have to worry about moisture content. Using wet fruit, you have to worry about moisture content. You're adding moisture to the alcohol, you're diluting it. If you ever get below 35%, it's not going to extract well, but you got to make sure if you're using high proof that you dilute it enough to get it down below 50%. So in this case, we're going to use our 151 proof, right? Which is roughly 78, what is that? 70, I didn't do the math beforehand. Now I have to do it on my feet and I'm not doing it well. But we're cutting it, essentially cutting the proof in half, which is right in the window. And then the next time we're going to use dry fruit when we put it in, right?
Okay, so I'm just going to pour this in. When it's going to take a minute to kind of go down because it's full.
In fact, if you show the side, you can see all the air bubbles because there's lots of pressed air down there.
Yeah, tons of air bubbles coming up when I pour it in. Now, when we go down to Nevada, we're going to get the Stroh rum.
Yes.
And that is, what was that, 190?
No, I think it's a 160 proof.
No, not Stroh.
Oh, was the Stroh the 190?
The plantation.
The plantation was 160.
Yes.
And the Stroh was the 190.
Yes. So
Yes.
go down and I'm going to be able to get my original recipe with the rum.
And then we'll be
we're
able
gonna
to,
stock up because now that we know,
Yeah.
it's not going to just be so easy to get anymore. We're just gonna
yeah,
stock up, and then that way we have what we need.
exactly. So that's sort of the challenge. That's what we're always working with, right? So this is another example of we don't have the rum available, so you have to call an audible. We know that since we're using fresh fruit, we've got to grab like a higher proof spirit so that we can dilute it and still be okay. We've done that. We're going to do Everclear instead of the other. Everclear is a lot like vodka. It's tasteless. It's just a really high concentration of alcohol, so you got to make sure that you dilute it in this particular extract, which we've done. We'll put the lid on it. We'll let all that sweetness get absorbed out of the beans, out of the oranges. We'll take the oranges out in a month and add orange peels when we do the change out to bring more of that orange flavor forward. And this is going to be a super fun one to, it's always one of my favorites actually to taste test.
Well, and also one of the reasons I do like to use this quart size jar is that there isn't a lot of air on top or space. And so there isn't really any room for the fruit to float up and not be under the alcohol.
Right.
So if you get a jar that's close to, and we can't always, it's hard to get the perfect jar where there's no air or space on the top. But when you get it, these quart jars, like it's all the way to the top. I mean, it is like the perfect size.
And fruit varies. Sometimes you have bigger ones and littler ones, and the peel is thicker, and sometimes it's not thicker. You're dealing with organic material, and it always changes a little bit.
That's true.
So we just kind of dance with it, and we make it work. And this is a beautiful extract.
It's gorgeous.
I'm curious if any of you, and maybe you've mentioned it in the comments, I know that several of you, this has been a favorite since our book was published. And so anyone that made this one right away last year, you'll be taste testing it right now. We're on, I think, our 4th round of this, and it's one of our favorites for the holidays, for sure.
And that's why we're making it now, because I want to make sure that you guys have this ready for next year for the holidays. It's a little early for orange season. We're not really seeing great oranges yet, but I did find a few, and we want to make sure we get it out now because you're going to want it for next Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's one of those recipes that are just perfect for the holidays. I would show you what this looks like, but I forgot to get the lid.
Oh, I was just looking for it to try to help.
If you want to just kind of come over to the camera just for a sec, you can maybe see from the top.
It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Where is that lid?
I don't.
We must have left it somewhere. It's around somewhere.
It's here. I think it's in the pantry.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll just set it right there.
Yeah. I'll post it later.
I'm laughing. Nancy says, look around the kitchen. Paul likes hiding new bottles, so we barely see them. Nancy knows all my tricks.
He does.
Shannon, Moon Babe used the freeze-dried tart cherries because she couldn't find any dried cranberries without added sugar. It's gorgeous. Someone asked, have you added sugar to the fruit extracts? Sometimes have we ever used like a sweetened one where there's maybe some added sugar?
I have,
yeah,
but for the most part, I don't add. It's kind of more of an infusion, which is a whole nother wonderful thing that you could add.
Like liqueurs, and you get into other things. Yes.
Yeah. But for the most part, and it is hard to find the cranberries without sugar, and oftentimes it's hard for the oranges. They like to add, and I think apples even, I notice that they're adding sugar. So that is something, it's not bad. You could try it.
Well, we've done it and it's okay. In fact, I mean, if those of you that were with us a couple of workshops ago when we did the caramel apple and we're putting the caramel, I mean, we're adding sugar essentially to the extract with the caramel.
Yes.
It's where we use like an infusion and an extract all in one. And that's added sugar. And so you can, and they turn out great. Typically though, with the exception of some of those like specialty ones, we try to go sugar-free.
It lasts longer without the sugar.
Yeah.
That's the reason. If you have the sugar in, it lasts for about a year. And then it doesn't last as long as extract.
There you go. So we try not to use sugar unless we're doing like a specialty fun thing, something like that, maybe calls for it. Okay, we're going to keep going. We go pretty fast now because we're pushing 5 o'clock. We might lose a few of you. It looks like we're going to go just a little bit longer, and our apologies. And if you have to break away, we'll post the rerun on our YouTube channel. It takes about a month before that goes up, but you'll see it there if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. But let's jump right into our first change out. This is the Vanilla Bean Sweet Dream Extract. We started it from page 80 of The Art of Extract Making. We started it 1 month ago, and it's time for our very first change out.
Yes, and this has the vanilla, remind me, it has
So
Indian.
this has the Mexican Indian vanilla. It has a whole nutmeg, 1 Ceylon cinnamon stick, and a teaspoon of allspice in vodka. So the first thing I notice is the color. It's absolutely beautiful because vodka is clear. So when this thing started, it was just, as clear as Everclear. And now you've got that beautiful amber color that's come through. And what's the first thing that I smell? Cinnamon.
And nutmeg.
And the nut. Oh, yes. Cinnamon and nutmeg.
It smells delicious. So really the change out we're doing here is just removing the cinnamon. If you like cinnamon and you want it to be stronger, you're welcome to leave it in here. The reason we're taking it out is because we want all of those other flavors to kind of have an equal shot here. We want to be able to taste all of them equally and not have the cinnamon kind of overpower the rest of the spices. So that's why we're taking it out after a month. We are going to leave everything else in here. We're leaving the nutmeg and the allspice berries, and we're going to put them back into our extract.
Let's see, we're removing the cinnamon after 1, and then we go 4 months, and then we remove all the spices, but leave the vanilla.
Yes, because there is an ounce of vanilla beans in here. So we want to give the vanilla beans a full year to be able to extract. Again, if you taste it and you like it and you want to just have a little bit of it, it'll be great. But the longer, and you know this, the longer you wait, that vanilla comes through and it is wonderful.
Even the cinnamon, just so people can see. And maybe you talked about this when I stepped away. This can be dried and powdered.
I didn't.
You can make a cinnamon powder with it. So you can kind of see the cinnamon is just bark from a cinnamon tree. And the Ceylon is famous because it cuts so thin and you can have so many little pieces of the bark inside the quell. And then it's very easy to break because it's a thin cut and it's full of like a soft, fun flavor. So you see it kind of separates like paper. And then these can be laid out, dried. You can put them in the oven if you want to get them back to dry and crispy. You can make a cinnamon powder that is lovely. Don't throw those away. They're really, really yummy.
Okay, I'm gonna now pour the alcohol and the extract so far to this point back into the jar. It's a beautiful amber color. And you can see that there are the vanilla specks at the bottom.
It's beautiful.
Hopefully you can kind of see that.
Yep.
Okay, so it's going back in. There's a lot of vanilla seeds on the sides of the jar. Once I get all this back in here, and I'm just gonna kind of guide the rest of those in here with my fingers because it's my own extract.
Yeah.
I can do that.
And we love getting all that caviar out. This is one of those where we love the little speckles.
I know, we
Yeah.
do, we do. And I'm gonna shake that up so all of that can be down in.
Oh, the smell of that is amazing.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
And you already updated the tape on the side?
I already did. It says change out in February.
In February. So check back with us in February. We're going to come in, we're going to take out the other spices. And then after that, we're going to let the vanilla do its thing for like 8 more months or 7 more months to bring the vanilla forward. And bringing the vanilla forward is really important in this extract, we believe, because we want it to be vanilla with all of the other spices sort of together and fluid in one. A quick hack that we've shared before, I'll share it again. A lot of people say, well, if I start this extract with a finished vanilla extract, can't I, extract the cinnamon and extract the allspice and the other things and be ready to use in like 4 months? And the answer is yes, absolutely. That's a great little shortcut, a great use for extract that's in your mother jar. If you want to begin with a finished extract and you know that your extract is the 35 to 50% alcohol, and you know that you made it right, then you can certainly start with a finished extract to save some time on some of these specialty extracts where you're adding the other spices later. Sound good?
Sounds awesome.
All right. Okay. The most fun part now, and we get the most fun part times 4. We are going to move on to taste tests.
This is all of our hard work, you guys. Like a year ago, we started this, and I know a lot of people who are new to extracting or they're interested. Once they find out it takes a year, they're like, forget that.
Yeah.
But it's worth the wait.
It's worth the wait.
My goodness, I'm telling you, these are some of my favorites. And we started with the mocha and the winter spice a year ago, and we're going to taste test it here.
So this is the winter spice, page 77 of the Art of Extract Making. We started this on November. I was going to say November 23rd, but that's the year. I can't remember what day.
21st.
We started November 21st. So we are technically just a few days early.
Yes.
It'll be just dandy.
I'm just going to stick this in here real quick. Now, if I think this is finished, then I'll put it in a smaller decanting jar. And so it'll be easy to use.
And we'll share, right?
Yes, we're sharing.
Because we have so many.
Shot glasses.
Yeah, seriously. And someone was so nice. These are these really fun vanilla pure glasses that we have the nicest friends. They put the vanilla pure on it and sent it to us. These are our favorite taste testing shot glasses. So just as a recap, or for anyone that is new, when you taste test vanilla extract, a lot of people will like dip their finger in it and they'll taste it and they'll say I taste booze. It's not great. You should, because the number one ingredient is the booze. Like they're always 35% alcohol, which is like vodka. So you're always going to taste it. Extract is intended to be concentrated. And I always use this. It's kind of a dumb analogy, but it works. It's like snow cone syrup. If you just have it by itself, it doesn't taste great. It has to disperse through the ice. Same thing with vanilla. We use milk because the oils and everything in milk help the extracts kind of diffuse inside, and you get a truer taste of what the extract actually tastes like. So we put a couple drops of extract, usually into like a tablespoon or so of milk, stir it up, let it sit for a second. Then we taste it and we see what we think. So
some people do it in whipped cream. But I think the sugar in milk is sufficient to, just be the perfect.
Some people pour it on top of like a sugar cube and they use it that way. But this is a big moment.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
I jumped on it.
It's all right. This is a super big moment though, because this is our first one. Those of you, there are many of you here tonight that started. You were in our very first book workshop that we did a year ago. And here we are. It has been a whole year and we're still doing this. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I like to go slow. Drives Jill crazy, but I like to kind of nose it. Keep your mouth open as you're breathing it in.
Oh gosh, it's extract.
No, it's not. It's art. It's art. And art, as Norman MacLean taught, art does not come easy. Oh man. That is still this. You know what it reminds me of now, because we've used this one so often. Cinnamon rolls, your Christmas morning cinnamon rolls. She'll make cinnamon rolls, and this is the extract that we use in the frosting every Christmas morning. And the boys, the first year you did it, the boys went nuts. They're like, what is that? Right. It is absolutely delicious. And it's the vanilla certainly comes out. The anise is present. And everything else is just blended. It's like Christmas in a bottle, right? Everything is just blended together perfectly. That's a beautiful extract. So this is absolutely ready.
It's one of my faves.
So what will we do? We'll serve out of that bottle or decant it or?
Well, this actually, I doubled this. This is actually twice the recipe because I ran out of it. I used so much of it. So I actually doubled that. So I might keep it in here till I use it a little bit more. And then I'll decant when it gets to be, a little bit lower.
Yeah, decanting is important. In fact, maybe we do a show just on decanting now that we're getting all these, and we'll get a bunch of them together and we'll talk about decanting. Because you run into problems where the alcohol dips below the level of the beans that are in there. When you take the beans out, what kind of jars do you decant into? Do you filter it before you use it? These are all questions that come up and I think maybe deserve another show.
Yes. And I mean, at this point, I can take the vanilla beans out of here and put them into my mother jar and then just have the extract. The extract is wonderful. I'm going to leave the vanilla in there just to give it a little bit more vanilla flavor.
It's just, it's obvious. It's like part of our family now. It's almost tradition.
Yeah.
Like when I taste that, it's Christmas morning memories, homemade cinnamon rolls. So let's move on now to the next taste test, page 96 of The Art of Extract Making, our Mocha Vanilla Extract. Also made a year ago in the same workshop where we made that one. We started both of these.
We did them together on the 21st of November. If you can show this up close, you can see the bottom of this. You can see the cacao all kind of still in there. So it's going to have a little bit of that chocolate in there. If you want your extract to be very clear without any of that, because it's got a little bit of a viscosity to it, then you can pour this through a coffee filter or cheesecloth or something to give it a real nice clear finish. And depending on what I'm using it for, sometimes I do that. This goes next to my coffee in the morning because it just adds a bit of a chocolate flavor without adding sugar to it. It's just a nice little treat. So I will often just leave this right next to the coffee machine.
And we typically don't filter because what you're seeing are just all the oils and there's taste in there and it tastes wonderful. When you do filter, it's sometimes when we're gifting it, people that aren't in like the extract making journey, when they see like the oils on the top, they're like, oh wait, is this okay? Is my extract broken? There's something like gathering at the neck of the bottle. And so sometimes if we're gifting it, we'll filter just to kind of avoid that feeling or that concern from people that don't know what homemade extracts look like. When we're using it ourselves, is there a case that we...
Yeah, and it's some recipes.
Well, the caramel ones, we have to.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and even there are some recipes in here where I'll put that in and it'll change kind of the color of it.
Yeah.
And so if I'm wanting something that I don't want, like this kind of this chocolatey look to it, but I want the flavor, sometimes I'll have a filtered version.
There you go. So that's available. The Chemex is a great tool for doing that. Put it in a Chemex with the filter, let it drip.
I can't open that.
Oh yeah. See, not rehearsed. She's just making me feel good. I've been working out. See that? See how fast I open that bad boy? Just call me Thor. I kind of look like Thor, don't I?
Sure.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So when he cut his hair.
Oh, yeah.
When he had long hair, I didn't look at all like him. Now that he cut his hair, I look a lot like Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple little drops in here, and then about a tablespoon of milk. Oh, just the smell of that. This is also good in chocolate chip cookies. If you want to add just kind of a little bit of a chocolate and coffee are wonderful together.
Yes.
So it's really good in.
I mean, all of our chocolate desserts, chocolates, brownies, things like that.
I'm just thinking fudge with that.
Well, I'm thinking we just like our boys' favorite cake. We call it Texas fudge, is their favorite birthday cake. And it's a chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. And the mocha and the frosting is spectacular.
Yeah. And the kids love the coffee flavor.
This one is so clearly yummy. I mean, it's you know,
fudgy.
It's almost, that's why I was thinking Texas fudge. It's like one of the perfect applications. You get it all. The coffee's there, the chocolate is there. And then remember when we taste tested this initially, if you guys will recall, and you can go back and look at the videos and correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, because we've made so many. This was the one we took the coffee out and we're like, whoa, like all coffee.
Yes.
It was so heavy on the coffee.
It was.
Right? Like it was hard to find anything behind coffee. Now coffee is an aftertaste. It's chocolate. They're all blended perfectly. It's a chocolate, vanilla, all of it's there.
It's good.
So another winner. That's 2 A+. Next taste test. This is the fun taste test. It's the cinnamon vanilla extract. We started it just a month ago, page 141 in The Art of Extract Making. And yes, you heard me correctly. We started this just 1 month ago.
Yes, this is our fastest extract that you can make.
Yes.
And you can throw cinnamon in an extract and it'll be ready for Christmas.
Yes.
But we also have vanilla in here. And so the vanilla is kind of a binder. It's not a full ounce of vanilla. It's just kind of giving the cinnamon kind of a little bit of softness. The longer that vanilla sits in with the cinnamon, the better it will get. So
Yes.
don't take the vanilla out.
We recommend that. Keep the vanilla in there. And this is one that is often filtered as well because the cinnamon can be a little cloudy sometimes.
It
And so
is.
people will want to put it through a filter.
It-
Again, the cloudiness is the oils and there's flavor compounds inside the oil. And so we don't mind the cloudy on a lot of these as it relates to taste. But for gifting, you may choose to do otherwise.
Well, and you don't want like flecks of, like sticks of cinnamon or, bigger chunks of things in your frostings and whipped cream and things. So you kind of have to just kind of take a look and see what's floating in there. I do see just some pieces of cinnamon because we break it and put it in.
It
So
gets soggy and like we showed you before, especially with the Ceylon, it breaks apart and a little like dry, like if you put paper, it just kind of will tear apart.
yeah, so I mean, you're definitely going to have to filter to some extent, but that'll be up to you how much you want to
Exactly.
filter out. I'm going to let you do this one first.
Yes, let's see. Mouth open.
Oh.
Take our time. I'm not going to rush this because it's a great moment. Oh, it's lovely. So Fireball whiskey is always kind of what comes to mind. Like you get that cinnamon taste that comes through and the vanilla is soft. It's like way in the background right now because it's only been there a month. And that's what we would expect. This is another one where people would say, can I use vanilla extract and throw a cinnamon stick in there and leave the cinnamon for a month? 100%. You totally can. And it's wonderful. So this is a great gift that you can make now. It'll be ready at Christmas time. And it's a super fun, simple, quick, easy extract to do. You can go heavier on the cinnamon. If you choose to go heavy, you can go lighter on the cinnamon. Whatever your preference is, there's tons of flexibility in this one. So that's a quick one, right?
Yeah.
Started, finished, just like that. Now, the very last one, just moving along because we're past time. Page 133 of the Art of Extract Making. This is our raspberry vanilla extract. Here's the thing. We started this one in September, and we were talking about our spreadsheet that we have keeping track of all of these live. Somehow we missed doing this taste test last month.
It was supposed to be finished and taste tested last month, and it got put somewhere and we completely forgot about it. And I don't even think it got put on the.
Well, we had the finish in, but we didn't, somehow we just got it in the wrong cell.
Yes.
Anyway, this is a great example of extract making. This is a mistake that we made that we wanted to show you and kind of make the mistake with you real time. This sat with the fresh raspberries a month longer than we wanted it to.
Which is perfect. This is reality, right?
That's the point. Yeah.
We honestly, I know you might not think so, but we do other things other than extract.
Every now and then. Yes.
Once in a while we get out of the extracting world. And so, we're busy with our families, with, other things. And we also are running a business getting beans to you. So things can get lost between the busyness of life.
So, but we wanted to share this because when it happens to you, and we see it in our group all the time, don't panic, breathe. If you miss a change out, if you're a month late, if you miss the timeline, there's flexibility with extract making, right?
Yes. This extract, the raspberry vanilla, it's not ruined at all. It's just going to sit there longer. All of that fruit is in the alcohol, so it's not going to spoil. And you're not going to get any more raspberry out of that. I mean, 2 months into these raspberries, and you've pretty much gotten the extraction out of those raspberry. All you're going to get. It's just sitting in there. So the great thing about extracting is it's really hard to ruin it.
It is. So what we would do is we would filter all of this through the strainer. We take all the raspberries out. The raspberries are white now because they sat a little bit longer, but we're going to go ahead and do our taste test before we do that. And maybe we can show that even in the next show.
Can you just do the up close camera here, and you can kind of see if you can see, they're pretty much colorless. And that's what they're going to look even after the 2 months. We're at 3 now. But that's kind of what they look when you're finished.
Yep. And did we muddle those when we put them in the jar? Moonbabe's asking. I can't recall. It seems like we did.
But we did, just to get it kind of submerged.
And to squeeze some of the fruit out. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the juice out.
The
Excuse
juice
me.
just comes out.
Yes.
And then when you are finished you know, you want to make sure that when you take the raspberries out, and I would show you this, but we're so over the time, I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
You're going to put all this into a strainer, and then I push the muddle on top of that to make sure that I get all of the alcohol that's been absorbed into the fruit and out.
Yes.
And so every last little drop is going to be back, back into your extract.
Back into our decanted jar.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just going to get a couple. Oh, that's
Oh,
a
look at the color.
beautiful color.
Did maybe the extract cam again, just to show like how pretty that is.
Makes me think of rum.
I was gonna
punch.
say that's Mary Poppins. That's when she pours her medicine and it's rum punch.
Rum
That's
punch.
kind of what it looks like, but it tastes better.
Yeah. Okay, our last one here, adding just a little bit, about a tablespoon of milk.
And do I get the honors again? All right. Everyone's gonna have to wait. Oh my gosh. I mean, we love this one, right? Raspberries. It's raspberries, right?
Well, and you get raspberries in December and January, and yeah.
People, I don't know which one's my favorite now of the night. Like I kind of thought Mocha was maybe my tip-top favorite of the night.
Really?
This one, I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, they're all great. We always say extracts are like your children. We don't have a favorite. That's an amazing extract. How beautiful is that?
Mm-hmm.
So even though we were late, you have a problem, extracts are forgiving.
They are.
Yeah.
And we get so many emails of, oh my gosh, I forgot to take this out. You're going to be fine. Or, oh my gosh, I forgot to put this in. You're going to be fine. The only time that you really can ruin your extracts is using like
too much alcohol or too little alcohol.
Yeah, well, even too little, you can still add more.
Upproof it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. If it's too little alcohol, your ingredients aren't ruined. They've just been like sitting in water. If it's too much alcohol, you ruin the ingredients. So to fix a too little alcohol one, and we have a troubleshooting page in our book that talks about this, you can add a little Everclear and just get that alcohol content back up and it'll be just fine. You can save everything. If it's too much alcohol, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But that is a lovely,
that's usually
strong, beautiful extract.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, extracting is it's not an exact science. It's not making cakes. There's a lot of forgiveness, a lot of wiggle room for preference. And it's just fun to kind of tinker around and see what it is that you like and creating your own thing. That's why it's the art of extracting.
That is. So we're coming to the end of the show. Thanks so much for everyone that's hanging out with us tonight. We, as we always do at the end of these, we like to give away a $25 gift card just to say thanks for sticking with us. We're 15 minutes over tonight. So Maria Norn, who is with us tonight and has stuck around the whole time. Maria, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Send us an email at support@vanillapure.com and we'll get a $25 Vanilla Pure gift card sent out to you to help you get some beans and get started on your next extract. Thanks so much, everyone. We love bringing you into our kitchen every month. This has been just such a fun tradition, and I love that it's still going, and we have many, many more to do because we look forward to this opportunity to sit down and talk with you and interact and have these moments. Like, how fun is this?
It is fun.
What a great hobby.
You can see what our kitchen usually looks like. It's kind of
This is what our kitchen looks like.
Yeah.
But this is also what our kitchen smells like. And it is wonderful right now. All the smells of all of these just sort of fill the whole room right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's a little messy sometimes, but it smells like no other kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. So thanks for coming down this rabbit hole with us. And you can see if it's your first time here tonight, this is a rabbit hole. And we hope that we've given you a baseline for where to begin and that you can take our ideas, make them all your own, create an entirely new extract based on the principles that we're talking about in these workshops, and share it with us so we can all learn together and make new fun flavors and lots of different applications as we keep moving forward, because it's just limitless.
It is.
It is. So we're going to hang around. We'll talk to a bunch of you that wanted to hang around with us. We'll turn off the recording here in just a second, and we'll look forward to just saying hi to as many of you as want to hang around and just chat with us here in our kitchen for the next 10, 15 minutes. Thanks again for joining us. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're here in the States. We've got another workshop coming up in December. We'll post that in our groups to let you know when it is, and we hope to see all of you back in December when we do a lot of these updates again. In the meantime, Happy extracting. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.